Hey man, what's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. You hear me good?
Yep, sounds good.
Perfect.
So, first of all, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. It's very excited when you asked me to be on. It was very, very nice.
It was very exciting when you said yes.
Absolutely.
First and foremost, most important question, how you doing?
Very good. We're about I'm 9 weeks actually today out of the USA, so it's get a little dicey here as the food comes down. You know, the energy's getting it's starting to get lower. You know, it was good for a while, but now it's starting to pick up a little. We're dropped down a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. You just said you were coming from a meal, right? So that's fairly regulated for you.
Yeah, it's usually down to like I get them in usually every 2 hours.
Okay. So first thing we've got going is where are you? You froze. Sorry, I think it just froze
Very
for a
good.
second there.
Yeah,
So
we're good now.
first up is so where are you from and how old are you?
I'm from New Jersey. I live at the Jersey Shore. I live about 5 minutes from Seaside Heights. So if you've watched Jersey Shore on MTV back in the day, about 5 minutes from there. 33 years old. Been training. I started training in 2006. Started competing in 2010. And it's been a snowball effect since then.
Okay. So what kind of got you into training?
Uh, yeah, I don't have like a magic or like a lot of guys like start off, they got bullied, they want to get bigger. It's nothing like that. Honestly, I was a freshman at the University of Delaware, and I put the freshman 15 on like pretty hard. I was eating pizza and wings. I didn't really go to the gym ever in my life before that. And I was like, this is getting out of control. And I was like, girls aren't gonna like this fat shit. So I said, let me just go and I'll run a lot, and then I'll go to the gym like 3 times a week just to flatten my stomach. I thought abs was going to be too hard to get. So I didn't even have that as an expectation. I just wanted to be more acceptable. And, before you know it, I started getting compliments. I fed off those compliments and it just kept going from there.
So it sort of jumping off that being acceptable, why would you so why did you pursue bodybuilding? Why not like powerlifting, strongman? I won't mention CrossFit.
CrossFit didn't even exist, I don't think, back in 2006. Um, Most guys that were in my college gym were doing it was more physique training. So I wasn't really overly concerned with I was concerned with how much weight I lift. It was more of an ego lift though, but not, competitively training for that sort of thing. I didn't even train legs, to be honest with you. There was years before I even did a leg workout. So I didn't squat. Um, I just did an upper body rotation. I had chicken legs, and after a while, it looked kind of funny, but it was more. Listen, I just wanted to like look good. I was in a fraternity. I was partying hard. It wasn't like bodybuilding. It was just like the gym bro at the time. In college. I looked more like a men's physique guy, so I wasn't like huge. Um, and the bodybuilding didn't come in until after graduation. When I went back home into New Jersey and I joined a hardcore gym, and that's when I started seeing bodybuilders. That's when I started to like wanting to like bulk up harder. And I did, my first like dirty bulk to like 240 at that point. It was really ugly. But then I started to like explore the options of doing a bodybuilding show.
So since we're a college based thing,
Hmm.
most of our members here they probably train more like that physique style.
Hmm.
Could you take a second and talk about sort of where the shift is for you? Like, where do you draw the line between bodybuilding and the bro split that, a lot of people sort of more like my age do?
It really comes down to the line in the sand is intensity. And I know, and this is coming from a 33-year-old guy who has finally fine-tuned that. It's what I see in the gym, and I don't want to generalize all young people because my gym that I go to, there's a couple 19-year-old kids in there that train just like bodybuilders. They're guys that I ask for spots if I need one. I trust them. Their heads are screwed on straight. Um, but the majority of young guys nowadays are doing it for Instagram. They're doing it for TikTok. They want clout. They don't really care about what actually their physique. They're like pump and pose. A couple sets in the gym, they feel good. You can take 100 pictures so you look good. It's not really about like really like breaking down goals and stuff like that. But I'd say intensity. They think they work out intensely, but they're not taking sets to failure. They're not calculated. And I'm not saying that I was either at that time. I was not, anywhere near what I am today. But a lot of the young guys, they ask me for lofty goals. They like, well, how am I going to get my pro card? I'm like, well, that is a very advanced question to ask for somebody who would rather party on the weekends than be here. So I don't know if you should be asking that question at how intense you're going right now.
Okay. That's a pretty huge distinction. Then that kind of leads into the next question in terms of sort of what drives you to be a bodybuilder, in terms of like, what is your motivation? What's your mindset like? You're going in there too.
Yeah. My ultimate goal right now is to turn pro. I now at 33 understand the genetic limiting capacity that a body will have. I think that that's a very good stretch goal for me, but that's probably going to be the end of the line. I don't think that I could be, I know I can't be Mr. Olympia. When I first started out, I thought I could, but you have to come to that realization yourself and be okay with it. But the motivation for me really is, if I don't complete what I said I was going to do, as in if I don't eat the meals that I'm supposed to, if I don't do the cardio, if I don't train in the manner that I'm supposed to, I really can't look at myself in the mirror. I know that I'd be purposely like failing myself. It's a self-accountability thing. And I would be really pissed off at myself and like really let down if I didn't do that. So that's what kind of keeps me like moving in the right direction. And I'm also very passionate about this. So this is what I want to do. This is where I want to be. So if something like, man, I really wouldn't want to train on Memorial Day. I'd rather be at the beach. But the gym is where the first place that I would choose to want to be then. So it's not a chore to have to go there on a holiday or whatever. So I'd say passion is a huge driving force for me.
Now, I've also seen on your Instagram that you have a son.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say he's a big motivator for you as well?
Yeah, my son, he's very interested in bodybuilding. Not like he wants to do it. But he'll flex at me. He's been to the gym with me. That did a few things just here and there. I try to use bodybuilding to teach him life lessons that whatever he does in the future, whether it be any kind of sport, baseball, whatever it may be, whatever he chooses, the lessons that I've done and shown with bodybuilding, I want him to translate that to whatever activity he chooses to do. The no excuses. You're always going to do the work. You're always going to be consistent. You're going to practice when you don't feel like practice. We all don't feel like doing this every day, but you still got to do it. It's called discipline. And that's what I'm trying to show him just through example with bodybuilding. A lot of people say, do you want to be a bodybuilder? No, probably not. Bodybuilding isn't exactly like the safest thing to do. I'm not one of these guys with my head in the sand saying this is we all do this for health. It's not like that. But so I wouldn't like volunteer him to do it. But I think there are positives like work ethic that you learn along the way that can be translated to whatever endeavor he chooses.
So would you say for you personally, lifting has had would you say it has had positive or negative impacts on aspects of your life in terms of like, what skills would you say you've gained from being in the gym? Like your work ethic, your discipline, would you say that they've had applications in other aspects of your life outside the gym?
Yes. I would say, like you said, the work ethic, I was never like this kind of person in like high school. Like I played sports my whole life. I was very good at sports, very athletic, but I didn't have the same like no excuses mindset towards any of the sports. I like to I was mainly a baseball player and I like to practice baseball. But I would never like go the extra mile, like go to the gym to get stronger for baseball. I don't know why. It could have been just an immature, younger mindset where I thought what I was doing was enough, and I was maybe being a level of lazy with it. It wasn't until when I got into bodybuilding and I realized that I didn't really have superior genetics to like coast by. Like there are people that like can do that, and I just identified very early on that I'm not one of those guys. And I had to realize that I'm going to have to do double the amount of work to at least have even a chance to like make an impact or beat these guys or anything. Like, so I learned that I learned consistency really quickly, in terms of like never missing meals, you know, and always training. I mean, I can't tell you the last time I missed a gym that wasn't like scheduled. You know, I have off days during the week, but like those are scheduled. I don't count as those as misses. Or the last time I missed a meal has to be like years. Like even, you know, and I had COVID this year, and like I still ate all my meals. You know, it was just it's just like what I do. But yeah, I mean, that's probably a lot of what I've learned is that you can apply that to other things. Now, I still think that you need to have passion for other things, because if I don't care about something, I don't put any like percentage into it. So it's not like I'm like that with everything. If you put me on a golf course, I wouldn't be the same way.
Right. Well, I mean, that's part of the thing with, you know, take bodybuilding, powerlifting. No one's really forcing you to do it, right? It's
Right.
you have to have the passion to be there. You know, you're driving yourself to the gym, you're eating your meals. And so I first heard about you in 2018 while watching the Animal Cage at the Arnold.
Okay.
And so I understand that you work for Animal as both you have dual roles there.
Yeah, I was I started off as an employee with Animal in 2013. They're from New Brunswick, New Jersey. That's where Rutgers is. Their headquarters is like literally down the road from Rutgers. And I lived in a town about 20 minutes away at the time. And I got a job there working in customer service. And I've been there ever since, you know, this is 8 years now. And I wasn't an athlete at first. I was always a bodybuilder, you know, as a bodybuilding employee. They were very understanding. You know, everyone in the office eats whenever they bring their food to the meeting. It's a lot of athletes that are in there. I always wanted to be an athlete. I always wanted to be on the roster. I didn't really probably have the credentials at the time to do it. 2018, they approached me with the idea of signing me as an athlete, you know, in a dual role, so that I could be, you know, on the inside and on the outside in terms of like, you know, videos and everything like that. The role for the cage MC, which is where you probably saw me with the microphone, that came because we didn't use the MC the year before. I think the year before was, no, I'm sorry, 2016 was the last year we used an outside MC. They didn't know who they were going to do it when they were organizing the cage. I said, why don't you let me take a shot at it? And I did like a little like tryout like video for them to make sure that I sounded all right on the mic. And then I got into it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. It killed me not to have the Arnold this past year.
Yeah.
Like it's an event that I really look forward to.
As it was strange not having all those spectators. 'Cause I train strongman, so I'm watching the strongman classic
Yeah,
there, and there's just, you know, Hafthor's lifting 1,050 and no one's cheering.
very weird. It was,
It
yeah, it was just, and that came. COVID hit that week.
yeah.
We had people in the air flying. Some of the early people that were going to the Arnold, as they were in the air, they canceled the Arnold Expo. And when they landed, they realized that, like, you guys got to come home. I was coming like the next day. I'm like, I guess I'm not going now. And I didn't think that there was anything in the world. Like, I didn't understand what like a pandemic really was. And it was like, they could cancel the Arnold?
Yeah.
Like, and then here we are 15 months later, you know?
Yeah, that's crazy. So in talking about like supplements and all that stuff, how do you try to improve your performance? Because I mean, obviously you have a lot of experience in this, but like, do you have a coach? Do you work with nutrition, physio, those kind of people? I assume you take animal products, that they're your
Mm-hmm.
supplements.
Yeah, it's, you know, there's like an ongoing, like, people think there's like an ongoing joke that like sponsored athletes don't take the products. That's a lie. I'm not saying I take all of them, but my whole cupboard is full of animal products. I take Pack, Flex Greens, Omega. You know, all the main ones. I take the Animal Furies, the pre-workout. They all work great. Why am I going to go spend extra money when it's, you know, provided to me? And you know, I wouldn't back a company that I thought was putting out like fake or garbage products. But in terms of like everything else, I do have a coach. Dave Palumbo is my coach. He runs rxmuscle.com. It's mainly a bodybuilding site. He's been in the game for a long time. Was in the 90s, was a top national guy. So I've been working with him since 2020. I started in March 2020 with him, and we did it. We did a season last year. I won the qualifier. Fell a little short at the North Americans, which is a national show, and then this year is going to be completely different.
Well, I mean, to be fair, the guy you fell short against just won the New York Pro. So, you know,
when it first started out, I was like, okay, it's going to be like me and probably a couple people versus Nick Walker, and then like at the end of like the prep, I was like, I was even in his weight class. I thought I was going to be a super heavyweight, but I dropped down to heavyweight. So it wasn't even that I didn't even go against him, but he looked crazy there, and he looked way crazier like now. So I tip my hat to him like in a major way.
I remember like Nick Strength and Power talking about him like about a year or so ago, right before you went up against him, and he just exploded in the past 6 months.
It's incredible. You know what? And I give him all the credit because he called it, and a lot of people laughed at him for it. And that is very hard to do when everybody is mocking you, and you to stay on the straight and narrow and actually deliver on your promises. I give him a lot of credit for that because he's not new to the sport. He's not like only training 1 year and all of a sudden these are all noob games. Like he's been at this for a long time, and years ago, like he like wasn't that good. He was like gifted, but not like this. This is like if at some point in his career he's going to be inside the top 6 of the Olympia. I don't know if it's going to be this year, but at some point it will be.
Yeah, I mean I've seen his old pictures and stuff like that, and he looks like how you described training in college 9 years ago. Just sort of men's physique, kind of getting bigger, but not quite in that. He hadn't taken that shift.
Yep.
So it's interesting. So I guess, well, you've told me your goals for the future. Get your pro card.
Yep.
So I guess the last thing to ask, again, I don't want to take too much of your time. I know you have a very tight schedule. So if you could go back to 2006 on the Jersey Shore and see yourself then, what would you tell yourself, 18-year-old Gary Turner?
Well, the one thing I would definitely immediately correct is don't flat barbell bench. I know you're going to disagree with this because you're from a strength background. I tore my pec in University of Delaware's gym in 2008. It was a week before my 21st birthday. 365 on the bar. It was a routine working set. I usually could do it for about 10 on the 7th rep. My whole pec in. It was I didn't even know what a muscle tear was until I did it, and I knew immediately what it was. But like going to the gym, I never thought at the time, like, dude, if you're not careful, you could tear a muscle. You know, bench press is a dangerous thing. And I ripped it, and it was completely black and blue. It was a muscle rupture, so the tendon stayed in. So when I went for the MA and the orthopedist, they're like, we can't do surgery on this. It'd be like sewing roast beef. So they said it's going to be like a cosmetic thing, but you'll be able to have performance in it. I didn't even consider, I never even considered the stage at this time. So I was like, okay. So I've always had a pec tear when I've done any bodybuilding show. But I would tell and I haven't flat barbell bench since then. Literally in the last like 13 years. I use dumbbells and hammer strength machines and whatever I can, it's to stimulate. But I would tell myself, don't do that. You don't need to do certain high risk, low reward movements if you're not being competed on that. Obviously, powerlifting, you got to do it in your competition. Powerlifting bench press is also different. You tuck your elbows in, you drive with your lats and your legs. There's a lot of things helping you not, get in there. With when you're isolating your chest, your elbows have to come out. Your chest is in a very weak position, and then it puts it in a very weakened spot. So it's not good for bodybuilding bench press. So I would tell myself that. In terms of like taking stuff as serious, I wouldn't correct that. I have a lot of like college guys who come to me and they say, "Hey, I want to do a show," and the first thing that I ask them is, "Do you party like at college?" And if they're like, "Yeah, I'm in a fraternity or whatever, I like to go to parties," I said, "Then do that then. Don't do a show while you're in college and miss out on all these experiences with your friends." And I was there. I like to go to the gym. All my buddies went to the gym, but if I had to sit there and not go to any parties or anything like that, I would not have been happy. But if they're a kid who doesn't like to do that and they actually enjoy being in the gym, then do whatever you want at that point. But I wouldn't change my life for that. So at 18 or 19, I wouldn't change like, oh, you should have took it more seriously, or you would have been better or something. I wouldn't have told myself that. I would have told myself to train legs a little bit tougher and squat better, because, my leg workouts, if I did them back then, was like hamstring curls, leg extensions, and like a few body weight lunges. And then I'll call it a day there, because I didn't like doing it.
Yeah, no one likes it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because that's pretty good advice to yourself.
Well, yeah, it's like, it's just a lot of, I just think back, the years in college are very developmental years, and you never get that back. When you graduate, if that's what you like to do, if you like having a social life, the social life is not the same when you leave college. So those are your 4 years to do that. And the stage or the platform or whatever will always be there. But if you're sitting there, missing out on memories and not hanging out with friends and being like a loner when you want to be with your friends, eating out to restaurants, whatever, you're going to be really regretful. What happens if the year after college, you're like, I don't want to do this bodybuilding thing. And then what? Now you look back, you can't get those years back. You can't go back. So it's like, I would say work in order of where you are in life.
So would you say prioritize more emotional well-being in college, like being with your friends and making sure you're getting your schoolwork done? You can still go to the gym and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to be,
psycho
meal every 2 hours. That kind of
right. When I was on campus, I didn't meal prep really. I made my own breakfast in the house, but like I had like a meal plan card like for off campus and stuff like that, and I would always just get healthy meals along the way. So it was like, all right, I'll get salad with chicken here. All right, in 2 hours, I'll go get this rice ball from, like a place that makes like grilled chicken and rice. So I ate out, but I ate smart. It wasn't until after college where I would I'm weighing my chicken, I'm making my rice a certain way, and that sort of thing. I wasn't carrying like a nutrition bag to each of my meals, to each of my classes when I was in college.
Well, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much I've personally been a long time fan of you since I got into lifting, so getting to talk to you is really,
I appreciate that, man.
Really great.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on.
Of course. So yeah, I think that'll do it for today. Like I said, I didn't want to take too much of your time. And thank you so much. Have a good day.
You're welcome, man.
Good luck in prep.
Thank you. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, sure. Please.
Have a good one, man.
Thanks.
Later.
See you.